Ave everyone, it's Sunday, February 28th, 2016. I've been putting off making any videos until I got that Urbana thing done, but then I realized that if I wait until it's totally finished, I'm not going to have any videos posted in the month of February, and this year I'm going to post at least one video a month. That I promise you, well, unless I die or something. So I've got to film this today, because if I don't, that's not going to happen this month. I will still be making that follow-up, probably sometime during spring break, which for me is next week if I have time, but there's a lot to talk about, so if it doesn't show up then don't be super surprised. Man, I really should shave, but I've got to make this video today, and I don't feel like shaving or doing anything today now that I've gotten back from church and my 5-mile walk that I've taken to doing every Sunday, and on which I would vlog, except that I use it as my time to read my book for the book club that I started this semester along with one of my friends, who I haven't talked about if he's ready to appear on my vlog yet, so I won't mention him by name, but we're going through The Idiot by Fyodor Mikhailovich Dostoevsky. I remember names, which both of us have long meant to read but never have, so now we're doing it. It's a book divided into 4 parts. The first part was amazing, funny, and serious in just the right combinations, and just the quintessential piece of Russian literature. A quintessential piece, not the. Part 2, which we finished last week, was also good, but not quite as good. Part 3, of which we're doing the first half this week, has so far been really interesting. A lot of rants. I don't know if that's exactly the right word to use, but monologues that people go off on certain aspects of Russian society that are just as applicable today. Had this thing about liberals and conservatives that really reminded me of our current election situation here in this country of the United States. Times may have changed, but in some ways they're exactly the same. Speaking of which, this is an update video, so I suppose I should update you on what all I've been doing this whole time. Although I'm taking a lot more credits this semester, I find myself doing roughly the same amount of schoolwork, which is nice. Most of my classes are very easy, and the couple that aren't very easy are still okay. There's one that I'm kind of worried about, but mostly just because the teacher doesn't give us feedback on our assignments very much. So until I see my grade on that first exam, which we took a couple weeks ago but still hasn't gotten back to us, I really have no idea how I'm doing in the class. I mean, I know my grade, at least on the homeworks and stuff, is pretty up there, but I don't know if I'm really understanding the material, and while I'm confident on the test, because it seemed pretty easy, often when I'm confident is when I do really badly, so yeah. Outside of classes, since I am taking so many more credits, and since last semester was quite overwhelming, approaching overwhelming, I cut back on my commitments quite a bit this year, staying involved only in InterVarsity and the aero design team, and to a lesser extent drama club. Sometimes I have time to hit up improv on Saturday nights, but I'm not going to actually be in the main production this semester. And that has left me with a net excess of free time, a lot more free time than last semester it seems, but in smaller chunks, none of which have really screamed out to me, you need to sit down and make videos during this time. But I'm hoping to change that soonish. Have a couple of ideas of things I'd like to try. I'm not going to make any hints or promises because I'm quite confident that at some point at least a couple of these classes are going to start getting hard, especially Calculus 2. I've heard that the latter half of it is something that most people fail. So I don't want to commit to anything and then come back to spring break to find that everything is totally overwhelming. But this vlog is like the 4th thing on my priority list, and now that I'm getting to the first 3 fairly consistency, it's not the word I meant to say, I'm going to start slowly but surely making time for this thing. But yeah, things are going pretty good. Got almost all of my schoolwork that's due before spring break done. So this whole week I basically just have 1 paper to write that's due on Friday, and then like 2 physics problems that I should probably go finish up at some point. They're on a concept I haven't covered in class, but one of the advantages of being homeschooled is you know how to teach yourself stuff with books. So I'll go teach myself that at some point. Probably not right now, because I don't like to do schoolworks on Sundays. I had to do a little bit today, because there's this extra credit problem for physics that was a little confusing. Didn't quite get it all done yesterday, so I went and finished that up. But now I'm just gonna chill, edit this, probably watch some YouTube, work on my language learning. It's Russian this semester. Я говорю по-русски очень мало. No, malo, не, ничего. Although I know so little, I can't even tell you if that sentence was grammatically correct. But I can finally ask говорите по-английски correctly. And although my retainer's in messing with my pronunciation at the moment, normally it's decent. Oh, there's far less Russian speakers here than German speakers. Have I mentioned that before? Last semester when I was learning German, there's like so many people here who speak it. There's one guy whose dad was in the military. He lived in Germany for years that I met on my first day here. Speaks German fluently, though he's a bit out of practice. There's another guy who I was interviewing for the school newspaper last semester who was in Germany for a summer and learned to speak it fairly well. Two people I know among my friends are both learning it this semester. And I've run into 4 or 5 people around who I don't really know. I just run into them. It comes up, and I go, yes, ich spreche Deutsch. Yeah, interesting. I have a lot of time for practicing that, but I've yet to run into anyone who speaks Russian. There are 3 girls from Kazakhstan who worked at Walmart with me when I first moved out here. They probably speak it. And I think I saw one of them at church like 5 weeks ago. But since then, the group of international students that normally go to that church that I also normally go to have not been there. So I don't know if it was her or what, but that's a tangent, immaterial. And now this vlog is of a decent length, so I should go. Be out.